we take Mr. Huff thrift shopping.
Mr. Huff's not here. I'm filling in for Mr. Huff.
Oh, excuse me, Santa. Okay, so this week we visited a few new thrift stores and brocantes, including some that were well equipped with Santa gear. And so we took some video to show you some of these stores because one of them in particular was incredible. And then, since Santa's hanging out with me this week, I also made quite a few batches of sugar cookies. So I've put together some of my best sugar cookie tricks so that you can both save time and produce cookies that are probably the coolest you've ever put together. So, are you ready to show them what we've been up to this week, Santa?
Let's show them.
Oh boy. All right, let's do it. covering several new brocantes and thrift stores, we've had quite a few good finds over the past 2 weeks. So I thought I would take a minute to show you what we've found recently. Now, if you watched our Christmas home tour, I showed you the gold chargers. There was a set of 8 that the previous homeowner had left for us. And the other day when we were in a thrift store, I came across quite a few more of them. Now these are the exact same charger, and I was able to get them for 50 centimes a piece, which is basically like 50 cents. So now I am just lacking 3 from being able to set both tables, which I think is really exciting. And I love that we haven't really been buying a lot of Christmas decorations since moving here. You know, now that we've decorated the house this year, we kind of had more of a sense of what we actually needed and didn't need. So one of the things I had become aware of when I was setting the tables for Christmas was that I really was kind of lacking in larger sets of cloth napkins. Now, we use cloth napkins every day, and so we really don't worry too much from day to day if our napkins are all matching. And so when we do go to set a table for a party or a get-together, it can kind of be difficult to put together a larger set. So I was on the lookout for larger sets of napkins, as I said, and really I decided I didn't want to buy anything that was less than 12 napkins to a set, because that would allow us to set a full dining room table. So I found these the other day at a brocante, and you can see they are in excellent shape, and I counted them in the store, and I was so excited because there are actually 12 of them. So my plan is that I'm going to stick these in a separate drawer in the sideboard, and then we'll only pull them out for get-togethers, and that way when we have some kind of party or occasion, I won't have to have that struggle of trying to come up with enough matching napkins. So that I'm very pleased with. Now, I've also been working on slowly collecting enough flower pots for all of the plants that we inherited with the house. So I found these 2 last week, and I really love this one in particular. Now, the bottom tag says that it's handmade, and it actually looks like it's put together out of like cotton rope, even though it's ceramic. So I just love the texture of this one, and it was only €2, so I think that was a great find. And I have also been trying to slowly collect enough candle holders for the house. It's nice to have them kind of throughout the house in case we have power outages, because it's truly pitch black when the power goes out, but also just for the purpose of like being able to set pretty tablescapes. So I found this set of 3 kind of mercury glass looking candle holders the other day at a thrift store when I was digging through some glass bins. So I'm really excited about these, and I think they'll look really good with the stuff that I already have on the Gite dining room table now for the holidays. So I think I'm going to go ahead and add those to the table right away. And then, as I showed you, this year we decorated one of our aluminum Christmas trees with only silver ornaments so that we had a monochrome tree. And we had never done that before, and I really am enjoying the look of that. So we had just used some kind of leftover cheapy ornaments that we had this year. And I was on the lookout for, you know, maybe some silver ornaments that had something a little more special about them. So I started digging through all of the ornament bins when we were at thrift stores, and over the course of a day, I found several new ones to add to the tree. So I really love all of the ones with French messages on it. So Joyeux Noël. Here's another Joyeux Noël. Let's see. There's some, I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not. These say Bonne Année, which would basically be the equivalent of like Happy New Year. And just some that have just a little more visually interesting and a little more texture. And so I think those were great finds, and they were really, really inexpensive. And then I'm trying to add still a few more ornaments to the tree that we did with all the coastal themed stuff. So some of the blue ornaments for that. So I think these were all really good finds, but this is actually not the most exciting of our finds. So let me pop over to the Gite and show you what I'm really most excited about. Okay, so we're up in the Gite bedroom, so I can show you our best secondhand finds from the past 2 weeks. I'm really excited about these pieces. So I showed you the footage at the beginning of this video of that amazing brocante with all the outdoor garden spaces and the chandeliers and the beautiful furniture arrangements. And while we were in that store, my husband and I came upon these 2 little pink chairs. And we were really excited because if you've watched previous videos, you'll know that this is the exact same color as the banquette that we bought I don't know, maybe a month ago. And it also is the same color as the bed that we bought last spring. So, I mean, it is just dead on the same color, the same upholstery. It's perfect. Now, we really were excited about these chairs as well because they kind of sit low. They're incredibly comfortable, but they sit low, which is perfect for this little sitting area that we're building because it's sort of tucked into one of the eaves. So now these chairs work really well in the space. We've added quite a bit of seating, and I think we're getting closer to the finish line on this room. So we definitely still need some, some like throw pillows and soft touches and things, but it's getting there. And we've moved that TV over to the little short wall, and we're actually working on an upcycling project to make a little TV stand for it. So I will share that with you as soon as we get that finished. But let me show you the other exciting finds from that same day. So we were at another brocante later that day when we came across this quilt, and again, in the exact same pink. So it is soft and velvety on one side, and then the back side has a floral pattern. And you can see if you look at it, it is exactly the same pink as the bed. So my intention for this bed is to kind of layer in lots of different pieces. So now we've got a good kind of base layer of pink, and we'll start adding in other colors and things. But really excited about these finds. And I'll show you one more while we're up here from a previous week that I haven't shown you yet. So I found this plant stand at our favorite depot vent. It was 12 euros. And it's made out of like the screw or whatever you want to call it from an old cider press. So I have a few pieces that I've bought since we've moved here that are made out of the cider press parts because I just think it's a neat piece of local history. So I'm pleased to have this up here because it allowed us to add a plant. So yeah, I think we have had some really good luck secondhand shopping recently now that we're starting to add some more stores to the mix. Hi guys, today I thought I would share some of my best sugar cookie secrets with you. Now these are tricks that are going to both save you time and result in prettier cookies. Okay, so let me show you the first thing. So if you see these jars here, they are full of colored sugar that I've made. And this is a really, really easy thing to do. And once you have these jars, you have all sorts of decorating possibilities when making sugar cookies. Okay, so let me show you just how fast it is to put together some of this colored sugar. Because this is something that if you go to the store to buy it, you're gonna have to go to like a specialty cake shop or a baking shop, and they're gonna charge you ridiculous prices for it. And it's silly because it's super easy to make. So I usually make about a cup at a time because I feel like that gives me plenty to work with when I'm making cookies. So we've got a cup of, this is granulated sugar. You could also use sanding sugar. Either one will work for this. Granulated sugar, of course, is gonna be the cheaper option. So I just dump a cup of sugar into a bag and then add about, I want this to be it depends on how dark you want the color to be. This batch, I kind of want a dark red, so maybe around 10 drops of food coloring. Now this is liquid food coloring that I am using today, but you could just as easily use gel food coloring. So you've got plenty of options when it comes to what you use and what colors you want to do. Okay, so once it's in the bag, you want to make sure it's well sealed at the top because we don't want the sugar jumping out while you're working at it. But you're just going to sit there and knead it in your hand. And over time, you start to see the sugar change colors. Now usually I find that I don't quite get the color I want on the first pass. And that's fine. You can just go back and add more food coloring until you get the color that you're hoping for. And I just have a set of maybe, I don't know, 18 or 24 little food coloring colors, which is nice because it gives me a pretty big range of colors that I can make. Okay, so we can see at that point it's kind of a pinky color, and I would like to darken it up a little bit more. So we'll just go back and add a bit more food coloring to the bag. And again, make sure you got it sealed well so we don't end up with sugar everywhere. And you just knead it again. Okay, so that's starting to darken up. You just want to make sure we get it all worked in evenly. And there you got it. We've got colored sugar that we can use to decorate cookies, cakes, just a whole range of things. Now, you can use this right away, so you don't have to wait. You don't have to make this ahead of time. So if you have the recipe you're working on and you want to make sugar, you can do it this way. I also like to make it ahead of time and just have some jars sitting in the cabinet so that I am ready whenever I have a project in mind. Okay, so now that I've shown you how easy it is to make colored sugar, let me show you some things that you can do with it when you're making sugar cookies. Okay, so before we get into my sugar cookie tricks, let me show you what recipe I am using for my sugar cookies. So one winter several years ago, I pretty much spent the whole winter developing mixed recipes, and that included several cookie recipes. So I have my own recipe for sugar cookies as well as a chocolate sugar cookie recipe. Now, these are both available on the website, and I will include a link to those in this video. So I will say the chocolate sugar cookie is really something special because it actually produces a cookie that is as dark as a brownie. So if you're wanting to do something a little different with your Christmas cookies, this is a fun option. Okay, so as I mentioned, this colored sugar that we just made is incredibly useful when you're trying to make Christmas cookies and save time, but also put out something that's really pretty. So the first trick I have for using this colored sugar could not be easier. So this batch of cookies here, I simply sprinkled the cookies with the colored sugar before they went in the oven, and that means they came out of the oven already decorated. So if you don't have time to pull out the icing and the sprinkles and all the things, this is a way to very quickly get a batch of cookies in the oven and ready to eat. So it only takes about 10 minutes to bake a batch of these cookies, so very simple. Okay, but if you want to get a little bit fancier, this is the cookie recipe for you. So I ended up developing a slice and bake cookie recipe based off of my sugar cookies. So if you're familiar with the slice and bake rolls of cookies that several companies sell at the grocery store, this is like that, but this is a homemade version. So it doesn't cost much to make, and it actually gives you more ability to customize the look of them. So this batch here is I simply made a batch of my sugar cookie dough, and then I put it in the fridge for about 4 hours to firm up, because we want these to be really firm and cold when they go in the oven so that we don't have a lot of spread. Because if you've ever made cookies and been disappointed that they're kind of flat and spread, a lot of it has to do with the chill time. So 4 hours in the fridge, and before I actually put them in the fridge, I simply rolled the roll in some sprinkles. And what's really fun about that is that when you go to cut the cookies, you end up with the sprinkles on the outside edge of the cookie, which I think is fun. Now, when I do my slice and bake cookies, I like to cut these a little thicker, which gives you more of an edge to show off all of the sprinkles. So I just think it's something different. It's not something you're going to get at the store. And there's just so many fun sprinkles nowadays that it really gives you an opportunity to customize your cookies. And again, really, really easy way to decorate, because simply rolling sprinkles on the outside edge gives you a fully decorated cookie. So if you don't have the time, to decorate cookies, or maybe it's not your skill set, this is a way to kind of get there. Now, last night when I was working, I kind of had an epiphany, and I'm surprised I hadn't thought about this before. But this green roll, all I did was when I made my batch of sugar cookie dough, I used my colored sugar in place of the granulated sugar called for in the recipe. So just, green sugar instead of white sugar. And this gave me just a really, really fun cookie. So I love the way it looks, it's festive, but I also just love the way that it really further highlights all the sprinkles on the side. So again, to make these and get them in the oven, I simply cut them off like a log and then line them up on the cookie sheet. And usually, cutting them kind of thick like this, like I am, you'll usually get somewhere between 15 to 18 cookies. And it just really depends on how big of a roll you've made. I usually stick to about a 9-inch roll. You could make them a longer roll or skinnier roll, just depending on how big you want your cookies to be. But just simple as this. And if you wanted to do this ahead of time, like if you know you're going to be really busy over the holidays, who isn't, you could actually make this dough ahead of time and have it in the fridge. Or you could even make it months ahead and stick it in the freezer and pull it out when you're ready to make cookies. So I just think these are really, really simple things that you can do to kind of take some of the work out of Christmas without sacrificing all the fun. And as usual, I will share the recipe links for both of my cookie mixes, the colored sugar, and these cookies. They will be in the description below the video. So that's it for this week. We're going to be taking a few weeks off to spend time with family. So until we see you again, Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays.
And don't forget to put the cookies out for Santa.
Of course, very important.